I gotta hand it to myself. I just finished setting up my brand new 2025 Notion setup and it's pretty good. It's beautiful, it's aesthetic, it's simple, it's not overly complicated or overstuffed with unnecessary features. It's not like cluttered with like all these databases that you're looking at the same time, and you know, it's not like overwhelming to maintain. And yet this Notion template is super functional. It is designed to keep me organized, keep me moving toward my goals and my intentions and my dreams. I've been using this planning system for the past year and it's really been working for me. We're gonna do a little Notion tour. I'm gonna show you this Notion template and I'm gonna just walk you through the whole thing. And at long last, there is a link in the description to download this Notion template for yourself. Yay, yay! As well as all of the Notion templates from all of my videos from the past year. They're all down there. You guys have been asking for these Notion templates for such a long time and I'm so happy that they're finally live and you can just get your hands on them. I just can't wait to just get them all out to you. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into this Notion tour of my 2025 Notion planner setup. Okay guys, and here we are. So this is the kind of main homepage of this Notion template. It's called the Life Hub. It is the place where I go to kind of find all of the things I need and to like run and manage my life. This year I intentionally went for a very streamlined homepage. As you can see, it is very simple and minimal. Up here at the top, we just have this focused view of just these 5 main pages. These are the 5 pages that run my entire planning system. And then if you scroll down here, we also have a directory of all the other pages that I also keep in my Notion. I'll talk you through all of these pages in a little bit, but all of these pages are essentially just places for me to collect information about different areas of my life. But in terms of the actual planning system, it's really these 5 pages that run the whole thing. And these are the 5 pages that I really spend the most time on in my Notion system. And that is the entire homepage. It is intentionally very simple. It is designed for me to really just have these main 5 pages front and center, and it's just so beautiful to look at. I just constantly find myself wanting to open this page up and just look at it and click into these pages because it's just so pretty. So the 5 main pages of this planning system are, we've got this 2025 visions page, and this is a page that houses basically all of our goals for the year, our vision for what we want from our year. Then we've got all of our monthly dashboards. If you are new here, I do make a new monthly dashboard for every single month of the year, and this is where all of those monthly dashboards live. I'll take you in a little bit so you can see what those look like. We've got our experience log, and this is kind of like the experience tracker, mood tracker, the place where I collect data about my day-to-day experiences. Then we've got our dream hub, and this is kind of like the back end of these monthly dashboards. This is basically just a place to set up our databases that display our goals in a pretty way in our monthly dashboards. And then we've got a journal, which is self-explanatory. Here I actually also have a space to put any other kind of key page that you might have. For me, this is my content dashboard. I use Notion to plan out my YouTube videos and all of my content, and so I do have a dashboard for that. If you have like a work dashboard or some other kind of important page that you want to keep up here in your highlights section, you can go ahead and add that here. Let's go ahead and go into our 2025 visions page, because this is actually kind of the most important page of the entire system. Hey, Future Kelly here. One thing I didn't directly mention when I filmed this is this Notion setup has a very flexible planning system built into it. It essentially has 2 different pathways for approaching your goals and taking action. One is a very detailed, methodical, structured approach to goals, and that's what I talk about in the beginning part of this Notion tour. And the second approach is a much softer, more intuitive approach to moving toward your goals. And we'll dig into that one once we get into the different monthly dashboard layouts that are included in this Notion setup. But the beautiful thing about this Notion system is it allows me to choose which approach feels right to me at any given time, and it's easy for me to switch between them. Okay, let's get back into it. This visions page is gonna lay the groundwork for both approaches. This is where you will go ahead and write in your 2025 goals. Once again, it is actually a very simple setup. This is literally just a text document. It is just a prettily designed text document. I really like having a very simple kind of official doc that lists out all of my goals, that is easy to read and just look at and just see kind of the official plan before we get into plugging things into databases, because I find that, you know, databases, they're kind of just like a little clunky to look at, but this is like a really easy to see view of what your goals are. This is kind of like the official document, the official list of goals. So if you do download this Notion template, you can go ahead and write in your goals here. You could write in any additional details, explanations. I do have a little section here for secondary goals, things that you might also be working on throughout the year, but maybe they're just not the top priority. I will go ahead and show you a screenshot of my 2024 visions page, which used this exact same format, just so you can get a sense of the types of information that's in here and how I filled it out. If you scroll down, there is space here for you to insert an image of your vision board. If you made like a literal vision board with all the like pictures, you can put that here. If you don't have one, you can just delete that. And then if you scroll down here, this is super important and also a page that I look at and reference consistently throughout the year. This is where we start to take our 2025 goals and we break them down into quarters. I find it really helpful to break my goals down into quarters because it kind of helps me kind of see, just generally speaking, when am I going to work on each of my goals, or if it's the type of goal that's going to kind of take the entire year to work on. For example, if I'm trying to read, 8 books in the year, I have to finish a certain number of books kind of each quarter to realistically complete that goal. Or maybe I am starting a new business and there's like first the ideation phase and then maybe the someone who has owned many businesses, I should really know what the different phases of this are. You put out like a test version, you launch the thing, and then you iterate on it. Okay, whatever. You get my point. You can break down your goals into these different steps, or maybe you have different types of goals that you want to work on in different parts of the year. Maybe quarter 1 is going to be more like the work quarter where you're working on some work goals. Maybe quarter 2 and 3 are going to be more about your like social goals. Maybe if you're trying to like connect more with your community, always a goal of mine. Quarter 4, maybe that's a little bit more about being cozy, working on your mental health. Whatever it might be, you can kind of start to take your goals from your 2025 visions and assign them to different quarters. And this is such a helpful process to make sure that you are making progress towards those goals, throughout the year. And then once I've broken down my 2025 goals into quarters, what I then do is I go into each quarter and I'll break down those steps or those benchmarks or those goals into a month by month plan. Like which month of the quarter am I actually going to be working on each of the things that I assigned to this quarter. And this is really where it starts to become very, very concrete. What I like to do is, in addition to kind of breaking down which month I'm going to get done each of these goals, what I also like to do is I'll kind of just jot down like any events, reminders, or deadlines into each of these like month buckets. Like I'll reference my Google Calendar and just plug in kind of just like roughly what's going on. So for example, for me, December, I tend to be spending a lot of time with my family. Same with November, that's just like it's holiday time. Let's say April, taxes are due. So that means in March, one of the things I'll be working on is like all my bookkeeping and submitting my taxes. And the reason I put these in here is not because this is like, I use my Google Calendar as like the place to like actually keep all of my events. But when I just quickly jot in kind of key events here, this is just gonna help me actually realistically look at, all right, so like in March, I'll be in bookkeeping zone. That might be like the main thing that I'm working on. I might not have as much time to work on, other goals for 2025 in March. I might need to work on my quarter 1 pieces of my goals more in Jan and Feb because in March, I'll be a little bit occupied with other things. This is really just a workspace to help you start to get really realistic with your time and really realistic with what's going on in each of these months. Let's say you have like a vacation in July that you're going on. And so that means that, July, you'll be really busy packing for your vacation. And when you come back from your vacation, you might actually just need time to get back into your regular routine. That might not be a great month to work on goals. So that means August and September are going to be, more of the goal-oriented months and more of the time that you're going to get done your quarter 3, goal tasks. Once you complete this process, so for me, I do this at the start of every year. And then this literally becomes my map for the year or my agenda for the year. At the beginning of every quarter, I come back to this page and I reference what did I say I was gonna get done in this quarter. And at the beginning of every month, I also come back to this page, and the things that I write down here in this little bucket are essentially what become my goals for that month. And of course, when you get to the start of a month, you'll sometimes look at this and be like, oh wait, this isn't realistic. I need to kind of adjust this because of the things that have kind of come up or the new things that I'm needing in this moment. If that happens, all I do is be like, okay, well, this is a goal or piece of my 2025 goals that I thought I was going to work on in Feb. Doesn't seem realistic anymore. Now, which month should I assign that to? And I can reassign it already right here. So this basically gives me this bird's eye view, this really, really big picture view of my year. And this just allows me to be thinking about my year holistically. This is really what makes your goals more tangible and makes it easier for you to actually accomplish them. So yeah, this is kind of like the hub for all your visions. It's like the official document, the official map of what you are working on for 2025. Once you fill this out, this becomes the page that you can kind of reference throughout the year to help you work on all the other pages. Okay, let's go into the monthly dashboards next. So as I mentioned, I make a new monthly dashboard for every single month of the year. That just is something that I like to do. It kind of keeps the pages fresh to me. My monthly dashboard is the page that I have open on my Notion every single day. This page is always open on my laptop or on my desktop. I always have this to reference because in addition to it being like a monthly dashboard, it also has my weekly to-do list. So my literal to-do list items for every single day are housed here in the monthly dashboard. So I'm always looking at this page. This is where throughout my day, I'm checking off, all the things that I'm doing. At the start of every week, it is here that I am planning out what I need to get done for that week, and I'll put in all my specific to-do items here. Because it is open and I'm looking at it literally every day, it's just really nice to just kind of switch it up each month. I like to pick out images that kind of match like the goals or the things that I'm working on, the things that I'm thinking about, or like the type of energy that I'm trying to call in. I kind of want my monthly dashboard to mirror that. I also will change the layout of my monthly dashboards pretty frequently, to be honest. So in this Notion template, if you do download it, I have went ahead and designed a monthly dashboard for you for every single month of 2025. A lot of these are actually the exact same dashboards that I used for 2024. If you watch my Plan With Me videos, you can see me literally designing these pages from scratch. I'll leave a link to the playlist of all my Plan With Me videos if you are interested in seeing me design these pages, but I just went ahead and included them in here for you. And I also went ahead and included these buttons for you if you want to design your own. So there are 4 different versions of the monthly dashboard that I at least included here. And when you click these buttons, they open up a blank version of that type of dashboard. Then you can go in and add your images and your colors and your goals and adjust it the way you would like it to adjust it to match up with what you want from that month's monthly dashboard. Or you can of course just use the ones that I've already made for you. Let's talk through what's in like a basic monthly dashboard. So this is an example of a very basic monthly dashboard. We have a list of our goals here on the left, area for reminders, inspirational quotes, affirmations. I like to add these throughout the month. I also have a little, another little kind of planning, mapping workspace here. So when I am setting up my goals at the start of a month, what I do is I will go back and reference that visions page that we just looked at. I will go and look at what did I put into the March bucket and what parts of my 2025 goals did I say I was going to work on in March. I will decide which of those I actually do want to work on and plug them in here. Then I will come here and I will break down these goals week by week. So, whatever the goals are that I decided on working on in March, I will decide, okay, which week of the month can I actually work on each piece of this. This is less of a task list, like this is the actual to-do list down here. This is really just a planning space for me to break down my March goals into like smaller tasks. And then once I do that at the start of each week, while I am filling out my to-do list, I will reference this and say like, okay, March week 2, which part of like my goals did I say I was gonna work on? And then I will take those goals and actually assign them to specific days. So this is how you're basically taking your 2025 like year goals and you're breaking them down first by quarter and then by month and then by week and finally to the actual like which day are you working on which parts of these goals. Down here on this section, I also have an area to write down my weekly focus. Over here on the right, I have a button here that allows you to create a new morning journal. I'll get to what this is once we get to the journal page. I also have a button here for creating a new weekly task list. So you can see this is literally just the same as this. At the end of every week, what I do is I will just kind of give, as you can see, all these to-do lists are inside of a toggle, boom, boom. So I'll just give it a name and I drop it into my weekly archive and then I'll push this little button and then I get a new list and I'm ready to start planning my new week. And what's nice about this is inside of the archive, you will eventually have like a little archive of all the things that you worked on throughout the year if you need to reference them. And then up here, we have a little calendar. And then down here, this is my little habit tracker. So if you download the template, these are all gonna be like blank, they'll all just say habit. The idea behind this is it's a very, very simple little habit tracker. There's two types of habits that I track. Some are habits that I do daily and some are habits that I do weekly. So if it's a daily habit, so for example, what did I have here? Journal. Let's say I'm trying to journal daily. Each of these hearts just represent one weekday. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There's 4 weeks in March, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is literally just, you know, a day by day tracker. So if I have journaled that day, I just copy the filled in heart and just fill in the heart. That's it. That's how I track my habits. It's a very, very simple system. And then if I have a habit that I just need to do once a week, so let's say movement, if I complete it, so in this case there's 4 weeks in the month, so each of these hearts just represents a week. If I did it that week, I just fill it out. That's it, that's the habit tracker. I also have links here to the journal and experience log, but I will get to those pages later. Okay, so that was the basic monthly dashboard, and each of these dashboards has a slightly different style of template, which you will see. But the other one that I want to highlight is this dream menu dashboard. And the dream menu is, gosh. So when I say that this planning system is flexible, the dream menu is kind of the shepherd of that. This is the second approach to goals that I mentioned earlier. So the first one is that methodical, like breaking down goals into quarters, then months, then weeks, then days approach. The dream menu is the alternative approach, the second approach. Okay, here we go. So let me just show you one of the ones. Okay, so this is a monthly dashboard that has the dream menu included. It has a very similar layout, but different. There's a couple of extra sections, including down here, you can see there's a resourcing section, which includes a place for affirmations, also a little recharge zone. This is just an area where I like to write down little tasks that help me recharge and just kind of shift into a better mood. I tend to come to this section just when I need a little pick-me-up. And you can of course switch these out for activities that help you recharge, but I like having this here in my monthly dashboard. Just having them in front of my face just kind of helps remind me, like, I'll sometimes come here and be like, I am in a bit of an energetic slump. I should go do my makeup. This kind of gives me permission to like stop what I'm doing and go do something to recharge. And it's like a reminder to myself, like, hey, you can and probably should do that. That will help you. And also you deserve to be happy. This is a very similar little weekly breakout, but the main thing of this style of dashboard is this dream menu. And this is essentially a alternative way of planning and making progress toward my goals. When I first designed this dream menu system, first of all, I know a lot of you guys loved it because the video where I first unveiled this system, like, is one of my best videos from last year. You guys, I'll leave a link to it here. It was, I think, my July plan with me. That video, you guys loved this system, that was the first time I had kind of come up with the idea for doing this. And I have since really enjoyed having the dream menu planning goal system in my Notion. So the basic idea of the dream menu is at the beginning of the month, I kind of decide what goals or dreams, intentions that I want to work on. I really call them dreams as opposed to goals. It's a dream menu, not a goal menu, because as opposed to these needing to be like goals that must be accomplished, they are more like, these are things that I want. When I think of them as dreams, that kind of helps me remember and reconnect to like that desire and the fact that like these are things that like, this is the stuff of my dreams. This is me like walking toward my dream life. It's not just like, this is the plan, these are the things I have to do. It's more like, these are things that I'm excited to do. I sometimes think that little word choices like that can be important, but you'll kind of see the word dreams and goals kind of used interchangeably, but there's a reason why I call it the dream menu. Okay, so how the dream menu system works. After I decide on the dreams or goals that I'm kind of interested in focusing on for that month, I will go ahead and input them into this database, and I give each dream or each goal its own little card. Inside of each one of these cards, I also have a list of related actions. These are all different actions that would help me move toward that dream or that goal. And so all of the actions have a status, which is awaiting the muse. And how I like to use the dream menu is as opposed to taking all of these goals and assigning that this is the month I'm gonna work on it, this is the week I'm gonna work on it, this is the day I'm gonna work on it, instead of getting into that level of structure. Instead, what I do is at the beginning of every week, I'll look through my dream menu and literally peruse it like a menu. I'll click in and like, okay, what are the related actions that have to do with this dream of mine? Which of these actions do I feel like working on right now? Which of these actions am I kind of naturally feeling kind of called to do? Which one of these am I feeling like this would actually be like fun and easy to work on this week? You know, there's so much value in that kind of taking your annual goals and breaking it down by quarter and then breaking it down by month and then breaking it down by week and then breaking it down by day. That is such a great way to move toward your goals. And also it can sometimes be a little suffocating when it feels like you look at that action plan and you look at what you've planned out for that month and you're like, ugh, I just don't feel like working on that right now. And that doesn't mean that I'm not committed to my goals. That doesn't mean that I'm undisciplined. I mean, I don't even know if I believe in the concept of discipline. All it means is that, you know, I'm a person and, you know, the things that I feel like working on, things that I'm feeling called to do can shift depending on what is going on in my life, what I'm just like kind of interested in a given time, and just what I'm currently finding inspiring. You know, I might have a set of goals, some of which are like social goals, some of them are like creative goals, some of them are like, you know, organization goals, or I'm gonna be in spreadsheets. And just like, there are some months where I'm like, I can't wait to dig my teeth into an Excel spreadsheet. That sounds so freaking fun and satisfying to get into. And then there's some months where I'm like, I want to be a tree. You know what I mean? And these are all related to different dreams of mine, different goals of mine. And so the idea of the dream menu is I can come here, look at all my cards at the beginning of every week and kind of decide, okay, cleaning my kitchen, I'm still waiting for that muse to hit. Donating my clothes, still waiting for the muse to hit. Ooh, learning how to compost. Okay, you know what? I kind of feel like I could be interested in researching that this week. I'm kind of feeling inspired. So I can go ahead and mark something as inspired. And of course, there's these other categories too. If I have something that I'm actively working on, I can mark it as active. Let's say I'm currently reorganizing my closet. If there's something that I've completed, I can mark it as completed, check it off. When I check it off, it updates this little progress bar, which is very satisfying. Progress bar is also visible down here. But I'll go ahead and do that literally at the start of every week. I will look through each of these cards. And so once I look through all my cards, I mark the things that I'm inspired to work on. When I come down here, that's where this current muses section starts to come into play. So this is basically a filtered view of all of those goal actions, and it filters by actions that are marked as inspired. So these are all the things, this is not like a list of goals. This is not like, you know, past Kelly telling future Kelly what she's got to do. Instead, this is just present Kelly saying, hey, this is what I'm presently interested in working on. This is what I'm inspired to work on. So let's work on it. I love this system. Like I said, when I talk about a more flexible planning system, this is what we're referring to. And I love that this template has both. I love that this Notion setup has the flexibility to allow me to do that structured version of looking through my goals and working toward my goals. But also, if I want to use this more kind of gentle, flexible version of a planning system, I also can do that too. This is so pleasant. I love seeing these muses here because this is presently actually what I'm interested in working on. And this is kind of giving me that affirmation visually on my dashboard. They're like, hey, this is what you feel like doing and you can go do it. That's the point. We're gonna go do the things that you feel like doing instead of forcing you to work on things that are not really, instead of forcing you to work on things that I'm feeling resistance toward. This is a more intuitive way of approaching your goals. This is kind of about leading into kind of the natural flow of energy and kind of where your intention is. And, you know, we have this menu here because these are things that I have previously decided in that visions page that I know I want to work on for the year. So this does give you a little bit of a guide of like what the types of things are that I could be working on. But at the start of every week, that is when I decide, okay, which part of this do I feel like working on this week? And that's so nice. And you would be surprised how much more you can get done when you are just tapping into your intuitive felt sense of what you feel like doing. When you just actually consult your kind of inner voice, your kind of that muse, like what muse is calling to you right now? What are you actually just naturally inspired to work on? Allowing yourself to follow that muse, you'll be surprised how easy it becomes to start making progress towards all of your different goals and dreams, because you're just letting yourself work on the things that you feel like working on. As I always say, making progress towards your goals should feel good. Making progress, working on building your dream life should not be this like grueling process where I gotta get as much done as possible. I gotta be rushing at all of the things. Like, maybe that works for some people. For me, I really want the process of building my dream life, of moving towards these things that are important to me. I want that process to feel good. I want that process to be joyful and pleasurable. And this is a system that really allows for that. That's the dream menu system. That's a lot of muses. Typically this list has like 3 things, sometimes like 2. That's the point. You're just being real with yourself about what you actually feel like working on. And when you're real with yourself, that's when it becomes easy to move toward your dream life. By the way, if you are enjoying this video so far, make sure you give the video a like. It really does help me out a lot. And if you're into this kind of video about planning and Notion and intentional life design and slow living, subscribe to my channel because that's what I make videos about. All right, those are the monthly dashboards. There are some other formats in here too, which I'll just let you explore if you want to download that template. But let's go ahead, since we're talking about that dream menu, let's go into the Dream Hub and talk about how you actually set up the goals that appear in that database. So the Dream Hub is kind of the back end of the dream menu. And what I will say is that this isn't actually a page that I spend time looking at. So like I mentioned, that monthly dashboard, so the monthly dashboard for that month, that is the page that I will have open every single day. It has my day-to-day literal like to-do list there. The visions page that we looked at first, that page with a list of all the goals is kind of like the map that I look at the beginning of every month and every quarter. This Dream Hubs page, this is the back end of the dream menu, and I actually only come in here personally when I want to use the dream menu for a month or for a quarter or for some period of time. I will come here, input the goals that I'm wanting to work on, and so that way they can appear inside of that dream menu on my monthly dashboards. So here is what the Dream Hub looks like. There's 2 databases in here. There's the goals database, and then, oh, and I actually just changed this. I think I like the word actions more than tasks. Tasks feels like to-do list items. So 2 databases, the goals database and then the goal actions database. And these 2 databases are linked internally. So the goals database is the one where I will go ahead and make a card for each goal that I'm wanting to work on. The actions database, so inside of each one of these cards, as I mentioned, sorry, some of these say tasks. We've changed it to actions. The idea is I'll make a card for each one of the goals, and then inside of that goal, I will go ahead and add in the related actions for that goal. The way that I like to do this when I'm setting this up, I'll actually come over to the list version instead of the gallery. The gallery version is like the prettier version. It's just nice to look at. But I find it actually helpful to just look at this like table view, because this makes it really easy for me to go ahead and just enter my related actions. So let's say I was gonna add in a new goal. Let's just, whatever the new goal is, I can go ahead and add it in here. I can assign a time frame to the goals. You can actually make whatever time frames you want, and you don't have to enter every single one of your 2025 goals into this database. You don't have to enter every single one of any of your goals from any of these periods. You don't have to enter all of them. It's really just whenever you want to use that dream menu monthly dashboard, that's the period of time where I enter goals. Let's say that I'm making a new goal for, quarter 4. I'll go ahead and put it in. It does automatically kind of organize them a little bit. You can see here, you can actually assign multiple time frames to the same goal. So I might have make space to be slow be one of my main 2025 goals, but I also am specifically working on it in Q3 and November. So anyways, you'll enter the name of the goal, you'll enter the time frame, and then here you can go ahead and start adding in the related action. So you can like type in a brand new action, whatever it is, and you just hit this button to add it in. And actually you'll see once you add it here, it appears here in this column, but it actually also automatically will get plugged in here as well. Another action. So I'll go ahead, hit new right there. So it adds right there, and then it also adds down here. And you can see it is also connected to that new goal that we created. So you actually can just input information up here in this goals database without really needing to do anything to the goal actions database because they're connected, so it'll kind of self-fill out. But I just think it's helpful to also just see the two databases separately, so it just helps me understand what I'm looking at. It's these two separate databases, but they're talking to each other. So I just add in the actions. I'll also just tag in the related year, so 2025, and then I'll just do that for all of the goals that I have. So then when I am inside of a dashboard that has that dream menu, all I need to do is filter it by the time frame that I want it to show. So for example, if I don't have it filtered, it'll just show all of the goals. See, here's the one that we just made, but I can filter it by, whatever time frame that I want to filter it by, let's say 2025 in Q1. And it's really just about which goals you want to have visible in your menu for that month. I hope that makes sense. And I really do recommend checking out that July Plan With Me video, which I'll leave again up here or down below in the description box, so you can watch how I initially designed this dream menu system, and you get a lot more detail about why I designed it this way. The Dream Hub page, like I said, is really just how you set up the dream menu, and I wouldn't even get pressed about making sure that every single goal for your year is in here. I mean, you can if you want to. I don't feel the need to make this perfectly represent all the goals that I'm working on, because that's really what my visions page is for. This is the official list of all my goals. And that Dream Hub page is really just for when I want to use the dream menu. I just go in there and plug in the goals that I want to work on for that time frame, and you can maintain it to the degree that you find it helpful and satisfying. Okay guys, let me know what you think of this Notion planning system. Which approach to goals is most interesting to you? The structured, more methodical one, or the dream menu, the more intuitive one? I personally use a blend of both. I like setting intentions, and also I like moving intuitively. I like to make space for both of those things. So the other two key pages of this Notion setup are the experience log and the journal. We're gonna go through those two pages as well as my tour of these life notes pages in part 2 of this Notion tour. We're gonna talk in detail about mood tracking, how to journal in Notion, my shopping tracker, and so much more. It's gonna be a good time. That video will be the next one uploaded on my channel. I'll leave the link somewhere here as well as down below in the description, so you can watch that one next. And don't forget, you can download this Notion template at the link in the description down below. I will see you over in part 2 of this Notion tour.